It took me years to understand this, and most traders never do. Not because they're not trying, but because they're focused on the wrong things. So I encourage you to watch this all the way through because this is what changed everything for me. When I first started trading, I did what everyone does. I watched videos, learned patterns, and tried different strategies. And I thought if I just found the right setup, everything would finally click. But no matter what I did, I just kept spinning my wheels. And looking back now, I realized the problem was not effort. It was how I was looking at the market. So the biggest shift for me was not a new indicator. It was learning how to actually think like a trader, understanding context, understanding when a setup is actually high probability, and more importantly, when it is not. So this is what eventually led me to build my own framework, what I call EMT, or exhaustion mean theory. But at its core, it really comes down to one thing: who is trapped on the wrong side of the market? Because this is what actually creates exhaustion. When traders pile in late, chasing a move that's already extended, they are the ones who get stuck. And once price stops going in their favor, they all need to get out. And that's what creates those sharp, aggressive moves back the other way. The market does not move randomly. It moves because people are forced to act. So let me actually show you what that looks like. You can see price pushing up here. Everyone starts chasing, buying higher and higher. But notice how we're getting extended away from the mean. Now price starts to stall. And this is where most traders get trapped because they bought late and now price is no longer going in their favor. So what happens? They all have to get out, and that selling pressure is what drives the move back down. This is why most traders lose money. They're buying exactly where they should be taking profit, and they're selling exactly where they should be getting in. Now, they're not necessarily wrong because they're bad traders, but they're wrong because they're late, and I learned this the hard way. When I first started trading, I was a short seller in penny stocks, and because we were basically trading garbage, I never focused on the long side, which was a huge mistake. Because with those pump and dump stocks, they can go way higher than you think they should. And I kept getting caught trying to short too early. But what actually changed everything for me was learning what a good long setup looked like. Because that is the last place you want to be entering short. And this is when it really clicked. Trading is two sides of the same coin. You cannot consistently win on one side if you don't understand the other. And this is also why I always tell people, if you're going to learn, you might as well give yourself upside while you're doing it. Because the reality is, an evaluation account is literally cheaper than what I pay for most of my live data on my premium charts. So you can either pay more just to sit there and watch the market, or pay less and actually have an opportunity to get funded. And that is why I personally use Apex Trader Funding. And if you're going to try it, use my code GStreet before the end of the month for a huge discount. This really helps out the channel. So most traders are taught to look for patterns, but they're not taught to understand positioning. They're not thinking about who is winning and who's about to be forced out. And that is why they stay stuck, even with a good strategy. Because execution without understanding will always break down. So now when I look at a chart, I'm always asking myself three things. Where is price extended? Who is likely trapped? And where is the mean? So if those three things line up, that is when I'm interested. And just to be clear, this does not mean price has to reverse immediately. This is where patience and execution come in. And that is exactly why I started doing my one-on-one calls. Not to sell you a strategy, but to actually look at what you're doing and fix what is keeping you stuck. Because most of the time, you're not as far off as you think. You just need the right adjustments. And I'm also working on something else right now. I'm building out a Discord where I'm going to be breaking down EMT setups and real chart examples in real time. So if you want to see how this actually looks while the market is moving, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss when it drops. So if you're serious about getting consistent, hit the link in my bio and book a call, and I can show you exactly what you need to fix. But in the meantime, keep going, because if you stay consistent and you focus on understanding the markets the right way, this can absolutely click for you. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.